Welcome back into another episode of NA Now. And Brandon Hofstra, joined here with El Paso Rhino head coach Joe Coombs. Joe, thanks for doing this with us. Let's just take a look back on the last season. What were some of your biggest takeaways from last year?
You should. I mean, you always learn a lot from not being successful, but I think I learned a lot about myself and certainly how I want to go about moving forward. I know that. Um, it was it was an interesting year from a lot of standpoints. I guess overall is you know, I think it was really it's just part of our process. Wasn't a fun part. Um, but we certainly needed better players. I know that I certainly needed to be better. I want to hold people to the highest standard, but you got to hold yourself to that. And I think that for sometimes the frustration level for me boiled over a little bit, which I'm not real proud of. Um, but never been in that situation before, so um, we've always had good hockey teams. We've always sort of got things going at some point. And last year, I really don't think we played real good hockey until our last 10 or 12 games, and that was a little too late for my liking. But we've with it being a second year organization, um, there's a lot of things that we wanted to do just from an organizational standpoint that those things take time and we've stuck to our game plan. I certainly know some days I wanted to throw it out the window because I wanted to win games. But they were patient with certainly with me and certainly with some of our players, and in return, we started the year really old. That didn't work just because of our schedule being tough. I wanted to go older, and that didn't work. And then we got younger, and younger is the way to go. I think, in my opinion, over my last 2 years, and then allow those kids to just keep getting better and maturing. And we got to that. Obviously, we hired great people and in our scouting staff, and Mike McCreary and Steve Jennings, and Steve has since moved on to the Air Force Academy. But Mike, it's a pretty seamless transition, and we're just sticking to the game plan. But it was a long year. We learned a lot. We've already had training camp. We're already down to our 25, I think 26. So when we show up on the 28th of August, we're skating the next morning, and we're rolling into our season. So we feel like we know our players well. Only bringing 40 guys in a couple weeks ago, and and it was an awesome experience. I know I'm going to do it again. I left there, felt like I knew every kid, which is really what it was designed to do. So we're really excited about our season.
So awesome, awesome. You kind of mentioned there you filled in some gaps of some players with having some younger guys now with that 40-man camp boiled down now to 20 something odd players or so. But talk about some of those holes that you wanted to fill, and then some guys that we're going to see returning back to El Paso this upcoming season.
Um, Frank Tefelsky, you know, was a was a great midget player. Um, he had a good first year with El Paso. Then they traded him. Then I traded back for him. And Frank is an awesome kid. And he's a good player. And he's somebody that I want to see do really well. Um, I know that he's had a great off season. He had a great training camp for us. Um, I expect big things from Frank. Camden Bazier, we got him out of BC at Christmas. There's only a handful of kids that have been there. AJ Reed's going to have a big year. Ryan Ginger. We traded for a lot of these guys. Tory Lund. A
Mhm.
lot of the guys we acquired after Christmas when we decided, I guess maybe before, to get younger. Um, you know, I'm excited for. And then you get some of the other players we drafted, you know, um, Tristan Bear and Victor Gade, and I like our hockey team. And our depth, our defense between you know, the guys returning and Jacob German and Pablo Hiltonen and a couple youngsters, a couple imports. I'm really excited for our season. If we're not a playoff team, I'd be absolutely shocked. Um, I'm certainly not saying we're winning anything, but
Mhm.
I certainly know the expectation there is to continually get better, and I think we've done that since Christmas of last year, and we'll continue to do so moving forward. So I'm excited.
Let's talk about the South Division. It's a dogfight every single night. We all know that. There's an addition now of a new team with the Colorado Grit. That's going to add some travel from you guys from El Paso up there. But just talk about the South Division and just how tough it really is. Obviously, you came from the east side of the North American Hockey League, now down in the dirty South. But just talk about what you see and what it's going to take to get this team to the postseason.
I don't think that the South is any better than any other division. I really don't
Okay.
believe that. I've been in the East, like we're talking about hockey player wise, right?
Mhm.
We're
Sure.
not talking about, one division's better than the other. I'm not, but for you to play in the South, like we just had a training camp. We set it up at 6:30 in the morning. They were busy from 6:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night for 4 days. Now, there was a lot of fun stuff in there, but they were
Mhm.
continuously busy through the whole day. And we did that to emulate what it was like in the South. Because
Okay.
you in the South, other than our boy Dan over there, we're next to your neighbor, it's a grind.
Yeah.
And it's not a grind in the sense of the game. Like, yeah, you play good coaches and you play good teams and everybody's good and a good coach in the South. I mean, you can go on about, but it's the fact is that you're traveling so severely
Mhm.
that it's a grind and that you're asked, we have two games we have two teams we leave day of. Everything else is the day before. Two of those trips we practice. In fact, we don't even practice. We leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, mountain time, and we get there after dinner. And if you've ever been on my bus before, when we stop, we don't stop long. We get our food to go. Like I want to get there and get the guys comfortable, and we're not moseying along as we get there, and that makes it hard. I played major junior, and like I can remember having 3 or 4 overnights the entire year.
Mhm.
We have we have 28. I think we have like 40 overnights, 40 something overnights.
Right.
Um, that's just not easy. We
Mhm.
get home on Sunday mornings at, it's usually between 7 and 9 a.m. So Sundays are absolute write off. Mondays around our team are really light, not in a sense of after the first 6 weeks of the year, we really Mondays are a lot of the time optional. I know our players really like to skate, or if they, we have a lot of free ice, but they're always out there a lot. We're out there, whether it be skill development stuff, but it's just tough because your Mondays are recovery days still. Tuesdays, you got to get back on it. And then if you're not at home, which what's the worst schedule in the history of hockey, as far as I'm concerned, we play our first 9 on the road.
Yeah.
And we play 3 in Colorado, 3 in Blaine, 2 in El Paso. Was to be 4 in Blaine, but we got a break, and I guess we're playing 3. Um, but I mean, we're literally leaving. I think we're leaving the 6th, and we get home on the 26th.
Mhm.
Like it's
That's a
just
haul.
a grind, and
Yeah.
that's what the South is. It's not so. The positive part about that is that it teaches you that I don't feel like $1 million today, but I still got to go to work. And that's the thing that these kids have to learn, whether it be in life, whether it be going to get a job, whether it be college, is that you're not going to feel good every day.
Right.
And working through that, that tiredness and working through that, I can't do this. I don't want to do it. Well, you know what? That's what discipline is. That's the things that come to the forefront. That's what we've always been about. That's what I'm about as a coach is working through those problems, getting yourself ready to play. And when you have the right people, um, that becomes a little easier. And I think we've done that. I'm excited for that. But the South is its own animal because of
Hmm.
those types of travel days. Um, I've often heard, oh, it's the South, it's the South. Well, yeah, it's the South. Well, South isn't any better than the East, or the East isn't any
Hmm.
better than the Central. But what makes it harder is that the travel and the adversity you face on a daily basis is what makes it. It's almost like it's its own league, and you're
Hmm.
prepared in a different way. And I'm not saying other teams don't have travel. I'm not saying that. I mean, Jamestown to Maine is 11 hours.
Right.
Like
Right.
but it's just different. You know,
Hmm.
it's just different. But it
Yeah.
doesn't make it bad. Doesn't make it anything. It just makes it what it is, and you deal with it. You better have the right group because if not, you have a year like we did last year.
Joe, let's talk about El Paso as a former Hockeyville USA winner. You guys have a packed house almost every weekend. You're very involved in the community. What can you say about that support you guys receive out in way West Texas?
You know what? You just said it. We just talked. The question you asked earlier was about the dirty South. Well,
Hmm.
El Paso is its own animal too,
Right.
because it is absolutely unbelievable. It is the 17th biggest city in the U.S. It's one of the top five safest cities in the U.S. But what our players are busy. So every single one of our players will do something once a week. So they might have something on Monday where they have to go read to kids or they have to do something. Maybe we work with the youth hockey program, so there's youth hockey practices every single night of the week. That maybe Monday, it's Frank and Jimmy and John, and then Tuesday it's Joe, Phil, and Cliff.
Hmm.
Um, but there's always something to do. So you come to the rink with us at for 8:30, 9 in the morning. You have practice, workout, usually you have a couple hours off unless you're going to do a reading, but usually at night there's always something else. And the community oriented, what Corey Herman and Corey Heon have done there is an amazing thing. Our training camp game on what was the date? August 2nd was sold out. In fact, it was the second time in the history of El Paso hockey they turned people away for a summertime game, which is
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah.
They had to turn people away, and it's awesome. The players love it. It's a great crowd. They're really into it. Um, we do they do a really nice job. I'm very thankful to have this opportunity because I spent 10 years in this league, and I can tell you I played combined last year. I played in front of more people combined than I did in 10 years,
Holy.
and I'm very thankful for the first time to have that. Um,
Mhm.
it makes going to games a real experience for these kids, and they love it, and as do I. I mean, it's nice to look over there and you see familiar faces and our
Mhm.
billeting program, and it's truly a hockey place. I mean, it really
I
has. I
love
mean,
that.
I don't know the first time they had hockey, 95 or 96, I think. Um, but what they've done down there is amazing. And the opportunity that it provides for these young guys is awesome. And it's just getting better because I can assure you
Mhm.
that the whole goal for our organization is to get to a point where, we're the king of the castles, and, then it's always harder to stand there. I mean, are we there yet?
Yeah.
No. But I know that's the whole idea behind what we want to do. And there's a lot of things in place. There's some other things that aren't, but we're working very hard towards that. And it's a very exciting time to be part of the Rhinos organization.
100%. Another exciting experience for these kids, the NAHL showcase right around the corner. You guys are going to get the opportunity to take on the USA's best of NTDP. How special will it be for you and your guys for that chance to play in front of all those scouts and some elite competition with those guys?
You know what? I had an 8 a.m. Zoom call today with 26 guys, and it's something we talked about. Um, I You're asking a Canadian about USA, Team USA. Um,
You've been here long enough.
so
Come on.
so I honestly, I'm super excited for our players.
That's the answer I was looking
Because
for.
of what, yeah, because that's what the players want, right? They want to come to a showcase, and yeah, you go to the showcase and there's always people in the stands, right? I mean,
Yep.
most games are packed, but you're, you know, but that game, everybody's at that game, you
Yeah.
know, and NHL guys are at that game. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I just brought it up this morning in a sense of saying, hey, you know, we're only, I mean, mind you, it's going to be our sixth game in 7 days. So we're super excited about that.
Right.
Friday to Friday, right? Yeah. So other than it being our sixth, then yeah, we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bus for 2 days, and then play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So yeah, super excited about that schedule. But on the other hand, I'm probably speaking a little out of turn about my schedule, ain't I? That's okay. I'm just
It's up
speaking
to
the
you.
truth.
Yeah.
But that game should be, as I said this morning, you know, what the North American League does and what the owners of our league do, and they do a wonderful job of it, is they provide opportunity for young men.
Hmm.
And as young men, you have to understand that this is an opportunity that you've been given, and this is a privilege, and you have to make the most of it. It's not up for me to make the most of it, for you to play well. It's for you to understand that, I got to be prepared for this and ready to go. I mean, we designed our training camp this year based off not our schedule, just based off what we wanted. We wanted to come in and go. We didn't want to have to bring 30 guys in or 33 or whatever the number is and then cut down after the showcase. That's something we've done. We wanted to try something new. Super excited about it. But now this is an opportune time that now they get that opportunity for this to be their sixth game. Which you're going to be better in your sixth game than you are your first, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
typically that for us would be our third game. That Friday night. So it's an exciting time. And then playing against them, I haven't played against them since my days in the USHL. Um, I know that they're really good. um, I know that it's a little bit interesting concept to have American kids play against other American kids and want to beat them so badly. I find that to be an interesting concept, always have. I've sort of thought maybe that they might they might be the Plymouth Gators or something instead of Team USA. But regardless, it's going to be fun. I know we're going to get to know one another. I feel like I know all 26 guys really well already, but we're certainly going to know one another. By the 22nd of September, we're going to be
Hmm.
well acquainted.
Oh yeah, a lot of bus miles getting ready for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Can't beat that. Joe, we appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much again for doing this, and we will see you in Blaine in a few weeks, my friend.
yeah. Sooner than later, right?
Hmm.
Thank you, gentlemen.